Number 1. I try not to think about this at all, but I know the longer I keep it all in, the longer it will take to heal from it. It's been a few years since this occurred, yet I can still remember it as though it was yesterday. I just hope that it will stop haunting my nightmares every day. This all started when I was 15. I always had a boring life, going to school, doing homework, and hanging out with friends every once in a while. It was when I was heading home one day after school when it started. There was a man. He seemed to be in his mid-20s. He got onto the same city bus as me a few stops after I got on, but something just didn't feel right about him. There were usually the same people on the bus every week, but I thought nothing of it. I was searching through songs on my iPod, but it was hard to focus since I had an odd feeling in my gut. When I looked around, everything was fine. No one was staring at me like I thought. I just thought I was being paranoid, so I brushed it aside. Things seemed to be fine after that. My stop soon came, at which I got off, and the day went back to normal after that. The next day was exactly the same, but when I got onto the bus, the man was already on the bus, sitting in the spot that I usually sit. It irritated me at first, but I got over it since it wasn't worth getting angry over, and I sat in a different spot. It wasn't until my stop that the odd feeling returned again. I looked around again, and things seemed fine, just like before. This just put me off even more, since my gut feeling was usually right. When I got off this time, the feeling stayed. I kept looking over my shoulder as I walked home. Everything seemed fine again. There was no one around, and my quiet neighborhood was as quiet as usual. I walked home much faster than I normally would, and made sure to lock the door behind me when I got home. The paranoia stayed when I was in the house. I tried to rule it off as my gut just messing with me, but I still closed all of the curtains on the first floor. The rest of the night went on as normally. When I got on the morning bus the next day, I was put off when I saw the man sitting in the exact spot that I was sitting yesterday. I knew now what that odd feeling was directed at. I made sure to sit in the first seat of the bus and stared at my feet the whole ride. I didn't even put my iPod in, since my paranoia was sitting strong in my chest. I got off the bus quickly when it stopped at my school. What made me more unsettled was when the man got off at the stop as well. He seemed to just look around after he got off until his eyes landed on me. I walked much faster, regretting looking back at him, since now he knows that I noticed him. When I got into school, things seemed to be much more relaxed. Being surrounded by a lot of people made me feel much better. All throughout the day I kept looking out the windows, yet there was no one ever out there. I didn't know what I should do. It couldn't have just been a coincidence that he was there. I was terrified to head home for the day. I tried to get through the day without worrying so much, but it was difficult. When school let out, I tried to not worry so much, but as I walked to the bus, my heart raced more. As I got on, I let out a sigh of relief and rejoiced in my head. The man was not there, and I slumped in my seat. I relaxed and put my iPod in and waited for the bus to get to my house. That only lasted for a few stops, since the odd feeling returned when I felt the bus stop to pick someone up. I instantly felt scared when I saw the man walk onto the bus, but this time was much different. He was looking straight at me as he was walking on, and he had the creepiest smile on his face. I knew this ride would be tense, but what made it worse was that he went behind me. I didn't hear him sit down, so I could only assure that he was standing up just behind me. I tried not to look at him and just stared at my iPod. I couldn't think. I only remember being absolutely terrified and didn't know what I should do. My parents wouldn't be home until late. I just hoped that I could get home as quick as possible so I could arm myself with something. My heart kept racing until it skipped a few beats when I heard him whisper. He said my name and told me how pretty I was. He let out a light chuckle, which rattled me to my bones. I can still hear that laugh. It constantly haunts me in all of my nightmares.
Don't worry. I will capture your beauty, no matter where you are.
Those are the last words he said before he got off at the next stop. This was a few stops before mine, and I almost wanted to cry with what just happened. All I wanted to do was get home and call my parents. I knew this was much more to deal with than I thought it would be. When I got to my stop, I was shaking profusely, but I still rushed my way home. When I entered the house, something just felt wrong. So wrong. The silence unsettled me more than it should. I made sure to lock the door and close the curtains. I went into the kitchen and grabbed a knife. I checked around the house, doing my room last. When I walked into there, everything seemed normal except for the small box on my bed. I was so scared to open it. When I finally got the courage to open it, I found some pictures of me printed out and some weird rubber things placed around. All the pictures were varied in time, with their dates and a small description written on each of them. After looking more into what's in the box, I realized that the rubber things were used condoms. I quickly threw the box away. I was beyond terrified and quickly ran downstairs to call my parents. I sat on the porch with the knife still in my hands, waiting for them. When they get there, they searched the house inside and found nothing. I told them of the box I had in the trash in my room, but they told me they found nothing. Nothing. I just went into hysterics. I thought that maybe I was just crazy and imagined all of this, but my mind was not this imaginable. The police got involved, but they helped with nothing since there was no evidence. It just made me angry that nothing could be done. I tried to be strong, yet I knew deep down that I couldn't. My parents tried to comfort me, but nothing worked. They had me sleep in their room to try and help. Things seemed to calm down a bit for the next day. When I woke up, I didn't know whether it had happened. Everything seemed happy in the morning, but I knew things were not going to be the same. Things seemed normal for the next few months, which just made me more paranoid. I didn't see the man on the bus, even though I thought I saw him sometimes when driving by on the bus. After a while, my life started to get back to normal. I still had moments of paranoia, with locking all my doors and windows and looking over my shoulder whether I'm in public or in my house. I acted normal with my friends and family, to try and live my life the way I wanted to. I never told anyone about it. I was too scared to bring any of it back up. After close to a year, I started to get those odd feelings again. It made me terrified. When I got home after school one day, I went to my room to do my homework, and something felt off. I checked around and noticed some things out of place. That's when I noticed a note on my desk. It was folded nicely, and everything around it was pushed away so I would notice it. On it was, "You didn't like my last present, but don't worry, there's more where that came from." And with it was a few pictures. All of me in different places, some by myself, and some with my friends. I was so terrified that I just tossed all of it away. I knew I should have done something about it, but I knew it would just be the same process as last time. Honestly, pictures have shown up in my room and bag randomly for about 5 months. But then they just stopped. It's been 3 years now, and I have yet to get another one. I just hope that he got caught and put into jail, and not tormenting another girl with his stalker ways. So, man on the bus, how about we never meet again? I hope you're happy that you've now made me suffer from anxiety and paranoia.